It's Friday. It's a beautiful Friday, sunny Friday. I hope wherever you are that you are also having a beautiful, beautiful, blessed day. As we are entering our weekend, today as I bring you back to Koroni, another segment of Koroni, I've got a guest. She's not a visitor. It's her second time around. It's a second time around. We thought, let's she did magic last time. I thought, you know what, let us bring her back. And then today is gonna be a new topic altogether. Let me turn the camera so that she can be part of the conversation of Koroni. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thanks
for having me.
So, as we were talking with Tiperi and all that, as we were engaging, and I said, you know what, I think you need to come back. You need to come back. And when you will be doing, I want you to talk about how, as a young widow, do you cope? How, as a young widow, you raise your kids, and how, as a young widow, you heal from losing your spouse. And I think this topic is so relevant at this moment where people are losing their loved ones. It can be a spouse, it can be a sibling, it can be a child. But we're gonna talk about someone who went through that, who was a widow at a very young age, and she had young kids. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for accepting this invite. And I know, how old were your kids?
My firstborn was 9 years old.
Yeah.
And my lastborn was 6 years old. And it happened in 2011. So it's quite a long time back, eh? 2011, yes.
Which means it's 10 years.
Yeah, it's 10 years now.
Yeah.
10 years. Yeah.
It's 10 years.
Yeah,
it's 10 years. The other thing that I felt that she's the right candidate for this segment is that when I speak to Tiperi, she speaks about, if she's talking about her husband who passed away, she doesn't speak with pain and bitterness. And I think there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
I do believe that you had a happy marriage.
A very, 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 very happy marriage. I had a very good marriage, and I think it's the way we were relating to each other. It's like we knew, good things. Sometimes very but it's like we knew that we're not gonna be together for a very
forever. Yeah,
forever. We were just so happy. I had a beautiful, 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 beautiful marriage. I was very young. I got married on my 20s.
Yeah, early 20s.
Early 20s,
yeah.
Very early 20s. And my husband died when all of us, we were in the early 30s.
Yeah.
So it was beautiful. We had a beautiful, beautiful marriage.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about how he passed away. I don't want to dwell on that, but I want to talk more about the power of saying goodbye. The power of saying goodbye as a spouse, because I believe as much as he was sick, he had illness, he did say goodbye. He had that moment to say goodbye to you and your children. And the other thing that I want us to talk about is that he taught your kids, even when you were married, that this is my wife and I love her.
And it was very...
Yes.
It was very, very funny.
Can you just tell us the last moments, let's say a day before he passed away, the way you explained how it happened and all that, just to give a little context?
Yes, it's
you don't have to give us all the details.
Yeah, I will try my best. As much as it's a very beautiful story to tell, but it does trigger some emotions.
Yeah,
it does. The last day we spent together, it was Sunday.
Yeah,
and he was sick. He was at the hospital. He had just had an operation on Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday evening, and then on Sunday, and that's when we went to the hospital. He actually summoned all of us, me and the boys, and they left him. I mean, as much as he was very sick, death was never, we didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
We never thought this man is dying. I don't know if he somehow, but later on I'm like, it's like this man, he knew that he was going, because he told us, come, I want you to spend the whole day with me,
Yeah.
with and the children at the hospital. And we did. And I can tell you, if I want to remember my husband, my mind doesn't go to when I met him, doesn't go on our wedding day, doesn't
Yeah.
go on our marriage life,
Yeah.
how we stayed together. We stayed together about 9.5 years.
Yes.
And it doesn't, my mind doesn't go there. My mind is it just gets stuck on Sunday.
On that day.
On that day.
Yeah.
That just one day.
That he somebody you at the hospital.
Yeah.
And he was telling you how much he loves you, how you must raise his kids.
How I'm a good mother to his children, and how I'm a good wife, and how I accepted him as he
was,
and how together we just gel,
yeah,
and how we loved each other,
yeah,
how we met when we.
There's that part that I love so much, and I think I speak about it when I speak to my friends, that it's so important for parents to bless their kids.
Yes.
Because you were telling me there was one day that he just, before he got sick, he
Shortly
before he got sick, he
yeah.
called his son and he prayed for them and he blessed them. And can you just tell us a little bit about that?
That was just something else. That experience was just something. I couldn't really understand it when he was doing it that day. We were just sitting, and then we were watching a certain program, and then they were talking about children, and then they were talking about the importance of a father's blessing to the children.
Yes.
And then he just said, baby, I want to pray. I want to pray for the boys.
Yes.
And then he called them. They were playing outside in the garden. And then he called them and he said, come. And then when they came, he made them kneel down in front of him. And my husband he was active on his left hand.
Hey, I loved when she told me this story. But you know what? I'm so happy you did that. But I will allow you to tell that story, what happened.
That was very
because
dramatic.
he was left-handed, isn't it?
No, he not necessarily left-handed. He said before he was left-handed. He was left-handed, and then he said he got injured on his left hand when he was young, and then he had to learn to use his right hand. But his left hand remained stronger than the right hand, though he could now use his right hand.
Yes.
And the funny part that happened that day when he wanted to pray to his boys, he made them kneel down, and then when they kneeled down, he put his left hand
on the younger one, on the firstborn,
and the right hand on the younger one. And I was like
no.
I interrupted the prayer. I was like, hi baby, I think there's something wrong here. You cannot put your left hand on the older one. For me, it didn't sound. It didn't.
I guess that story of who is this person from the Bible?
Yeah, there's a story.
There's a story of blessing when the mother manipulated the blessings.
I'm so
and you are like, history is not gonna repeat
this is not gonna happen to my children.
To their children. There's not gonna be
no. So I interrupted the prayer and I said, baby, I think your right hand should go to the firstborn. And the left must go. And guys, when we said the left hand, we're not saying the younger one is gonna get lesser blessings. No.
But there's a reason God, I believe, there's a reason God made us to be firstborn, secondborn, thirdborn, or whatever.
So. I think so. Somehow I just believe it.
There's a reason. And it's so important. It is so important when you are, as a parent, as a married couple, have time with your kids. Bless them. Don't wait when you're on the deathbed to bless them. You know, I used to tell a friend of mine who had a child, I said, when you are bathing your baby, you are putting a lotion on your baby.
You can speak blessings.
You can speak blessing on your baby.
You can,
with that oil or whatever lotion. You tell the child, you manifest, you're gonna be this and gonna be that and gonna be that.
No, it works.
But I also want, so we must not be in the same circle. I want us to talk about how did you cope being a widow, a young widow and having small children.
This is why, Kenzie, you know me, I always advocate an empowerment to a girl child. Women should be able to stand on their own, irrespective of how much they are loved by their spouse.
Yeah.
How much they are, irrespective of whatever, if they're still young, if they're girls, they're still young, irrespective of their background, girls should be empowered. This is just the lesson that I learned. I mean,
but you because you're a wife. Sometimes wives who are loved,
eh?
they are spoiled.
I was spoiled.
You were spoiled because you were telling me that I didn't even know where to pay for electricity.
I didn't know.
I had to find out where to pay services. I had to find out. Anyway, the other thing that I want to talk about is that, sorry people if we feel we sound like we're all over the place. We don't want to make the video too long, but I want to cover all the important parts.
The coping
part is that
the coping part, how I coped as a widow. You know, being a widow, my dear, it's something that I don't wish anyone to go through. Not even even the worst person who hates me. I don't want that person to go through that process. It's such a very harsh process because, number one, you're losing somebody that you love so much, somebody that you rely on, somebody who is so much, who is part of you, more than even your parents, more than anyone. Well, this is the closest person. Worse when your relationship with this person it's good, then that's a challenge of it all.
But don't you think also, sorry to cut you in, I think it's very important to marry somebody who loves you. You know why I'm saying that? It's very important to marry somebody who loves you.
The basic.
There's no marriage which doesn't have issues, but you must know as a woman that you were loved. But imagine being a widow to somebody who you didn't know loved you and who mistreated you, who was all over the place. So now you are mourning the death of the husband.
You will even cry.
Now you are mourning maybe the death of a father who was not really a father to your kids. And now you are mourning for the things that he used to do to you.
Such a trauma. You know, when you will cry, in the process of crying, you'll be crying like, I wish if this person can just wake up and tell me his story.
That you left without rectifying things.
Exactly. I think it's very important, Kenzie. One thing that I learned in life is if you are married, don't take the other person for granted. Love that person. My husband, he used to tell me that I want to love you because I don't know what will happen tomorrow. This was his words most of the time.
Wow.
It's like he knew. But he didn't know. If he knew, they would have done a lot of things and be prepared, but he didn't know.
Besides the financial part, which we're not going to dwell with because we're speaking about it when we're speaking about how you started your business. But I'm sure as a young widow, you are still fresh and all that. Men just assume that you have money. I'm sure you were a target.
Not just men. Even everybody. Sometimes even your parents.
They think this man
everybody
left policies.
Actually, it's like everybody who died, leave a money for the wife. It's not true. We were young. Can see when my husband died, I was 32, 33. Honestly, it's this is why I always advocate for a girl should be empowered for any circumstances that might come her way.
I think when we speak about a girl child being empowered to be educated or to have her own business and everything, we are not saying women can live without men.
No,
But we are saying
no.
that if anything can happen to a partner,
Life is
life
no
must
guarantee.
continue,
There's no
and
guarantee.
she must be able to raise her kids.
Oh, even herself. Looking
Even
after
herself.
Even looking after yourself. Never mind the children. If you cannot look after yourself, we cannot even bring the children to the picture. You should be able to look after yourself. And when you have money, currency, not money, I'm not talking about millions.
Yeah.
When you have something enough that you know you will have food, you will
Roof over your head.
Roof over your head. You have this. Even your stress level goes low. I'm telling you, but I still want to go back to your questions of coping with the whole trauma and everything. I think for me, God was my refuge.
Yeah.
Many times when I speak to the other young widows, I tell them, I sometimes don't know even what to tell them, except saying, if you know your God, run to him.
So that's where the word of God manifests itself when it says, I'll be the husband to the husbandless.
If there's a word that was fulfilled in my life by God, that was the word. My life changed for the best. How, I don't know, but
He covered you.
He did. He covered me in so many ways. When I started working, when I was working at that time, I was in a very low position, very low position, and I somehow got another position, which the money was a bit much better compared to the previous position. And it's because I also, I was also trying to improve my academic qualification, and then that was then easier for me to get that position.
Tell me, I know you're I don't want to say you're religious, because religious sounds like a habit.
Yeah.
I would say you're a very spiritual person, because spiritual is a decision that you make and all that. And your kids also, as much as they're teenagers, I know that for a fact that you have raised your kids under God's way.
What I learned.
How was it? You just continue how you were with the husband, or it came after?
No. It's something that we started, both of us.
Yeah.
We knew for sure. We knew the scripture that says we should raise the children in a God's way, so that when they are older, they will not forget that. So me and my husband, we were very, 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 very strict with our children, and they were very young. But we would train them how to pray. We would train them how to read the Bible, how to do all these things that we, teaching them about God. That we did. My husband did that one perfectly so. And when he was gone, I what I knew that these are the boys. One mistake, I'm dead.
You are dead. They will never respect you again.
Yes.
Which are the other thing I want to come to. This topic, it needs a whole day, but we don't have the whole day.
We don't have the whole day.
As a young widow, when do you sit down? I mean, you are still young, and you are a woman who was loved.
Yes.
But life has to go on.
Yeah.
When did then you say, now I can move on?
I can move on.
Did you sit down with your kids first?
You see,
did you have that talk with them?
you see, one thing about me and my children, we've got a very good open
relationship.
Open channel. We call it an open communication channel, where we discuss a lot of things. For me, when I want to talk to my children, I don't say, boys, we need to talk. I don't do that. We talk as we go. Important issues. We don't make an appointment to discuss issues in my house. No, we're so free with each other. And then especially with the younger one, is so free spirited, that boy. He'll be like, ma, I think you need a boyfriend. Things like that. And they're very free, both of them. They're very, 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 very free with me, and I will ask them. In fact, what I do, I from time to time, I always do what I call in my house. We take a stock, and then I'll be like, boys, how's life? How's things in the house? Are you happy? I always want to ask that question, because sometimes children, they can pretend to be happy when there are some issues that are happening.
Yeah.
So I always say, boys, is there anything that I do that makes you uncomfortable?
Yeah.
I'm so free to ask that question. And when I ask that question, I will not ask them I will not sit them down to ask that. While I'm busy cooking, or somebody is just sitting there doing whatever, and I'm like, but guys, is there anything that I do that makes you uncomfortable in the house?
Yeah. So tell me, as a young widow who was loved, who, when her husband passed away, he had that time to say goodbye to you. He had a time to say goodbye to your children. He told you how you must raise his kids. Wasn't it difficult to start dating, because you will be comparing him, any person who may come along, to him? How did you navigate that?
You know, what I learned is, if you are in any situation, never mind it's a death or breakup or anything, before you can move on to another relationship, make sure you are done with this.
Yeah.
With the one that you were in.
Yeah.
Heal, and when you move on,
you don't look back.
You're not dragging any baggage with you. So for me, it was very easy for me to heal from my husband. I had a very good relationship, like I said. We had our goodbyes. So even when I was crying for my husband, I was just crying, saying, gosh, he's gone. So there was nothing like, I didn't
there was
feel,
nothing which was left unsaid.
No,
and there was nothing that was left undone.
Not even. And I felt like my husband didn't owe me anything. He loved me to the end.
Yeah.
Like to the end. Like last end.
His last
breath.
We speak about how your husband died, how he loved you, and you get to understand when God says a man must love a woman like how Christ loved the church.
Sacrifice all, give all.
There must never be a doubt.
That's what
there must never be a doubt that this man loves me with everything that he has.
And when he's gone, you feel like this man doesn't owe me anything at all. You know, I'm telling you, my husband was not an angel. Either me, I was not an angel in the relationship, but I'm telling you, we loved each other, we respected so much each other. I was very submissive wife. He loved me. It made me easier for me to submit to him, and I gave him that opportunity to lead us. And the first place where my husband, you know, when I met him, he was not even saved. He was not even saved. I'm the one who was saved. Yeah. And I met him, and when I met him, he said he admires my life. And then he said, I would want to be in a position where you are spiritually. And I took him and I introduced him to Christ. I'm the one who led him to Christ.
And the Bible does say a woman can, but we are not saying go and get we are not saying go and get a write-off where you want to make yourself a project manager and you'll be tears saying that the Bible says women have the power to change their husbands.
No, I did not change him.
That's not what I'm saying.
My husband, when he came to me, he was willing.
Yeah,
he said he admires my life.
Yeah.
And then I said, this is where I get the source, and this is where I am. I am led by Christ. I do everything by Christ. And he said, I want that life. So I said, yes. And then
you know what? I think that scripture, women, we twist it. We twist it where you feel that you settle for less. You settle for somebody that your spirit and your beliefs are not entwined. You settle for something that is lesser than what you deserve. Saying, I'm going to pray for him. Because the Bible says women can change the husband,
No.
and you've been miserable. Anyway, after that,
the
tell
topic
me.
of another
a
day.
topic for another day.
Yes.
Tell me, as a young widow, you know, sometimes as a young widow, the other women who are married, they don't want you next to their husbands. You know, you used to get invited to things, and then you had a husband. They get to invite you and everything.
I'll tell you what I did.
Yes, now you don't have a husband.
Me,
You are still young. You are hot.
I mean,
You know,
you know,
how was there a change in your circle or in the community?
first with the I changed the whole set of my friends.
Yes.
Because, you know, as married as I was, definitely most of our friends were also the married couples.
Yeah.
And now there I am alone, and they still wanted to be my friends. I mean, the girls were still my friends, but they're married. And then for me, I was just so sensitive. I decided, for me, it's like this. For me, I just accepted that, you know what, Tipeli, you are no longer married. You are alone. And you cannot travel with some people who are married.
Okay.
When you are not married. So I decided to have a new circle of friends.
So let me ask you a question. There's always been a debate that married people cannot be friends with single people. Do you really think that is true?
That
Or
is
you
not
were
true.
protecting yourself also?
I was just protecting myself and protecting my friends.
Yeah.
Not that because I'd
There
seen
anything will-
something. No,
no.
I was just like, you know, let me space. I was just being considerate.
Yeah.
And not that because I've seen
Something.
No, I was
No.
just like, you're no longer here.
Yeah.
You're no longer in this world.
Tell
And
me.
it's different. Things have changed. For me,
Yeah.
I accepted the change in my life.
Yeah. Tell me, Tipeli, a lot of people now with this corona, like I said, they're finding themselves being
In that position.
being widows without a husband. Let's not forget also men. Men also are losing their
Yes,
wives.
They are losing their
People are
wives.
losing their loved ones.
True.
Yeah, they're
Sad,
losing,
eh?
you know. What can you say to them?
I can tell them that run to God. Run to God. And the first thing that you should do is to accept the circumstances that you are in. Accept it and own it. And say it really, this is where I am.
Yeah.
And
This is my
this
reality
is my
now.
reality. This
Yeah.
is my reality. And for me, what I did, I just went to God so that God can lead me the way. I will tell you what I loved about what I loved from the Word of God. Do you remember the story when Moses was leading the Israelites?
Yes. Yes.
Before he led that group, that the group from Egypt
Yeah.
to the promised land.
Yes.
Do you know Moses had a conversation?
Yeah.
Do you know what Moses did? He had a conversation with God. I just
Yes.
saw myself in that position, that now the leader in the house, it's gone.
Yeah.
And I am the leader now.
Yeah.
And there are children that I need to lead.
Yeah.
So I didn't know where to start and how to do it. What I did, I just copied from what Moses did. Moses went and have a very serious conversation with God, and he even gave ultimatum to God and say, if you don't come with me, I'm not doing this.
I'm not doing this.
I just adopted that style.
Yeah,
And then
of Moses.
And then I went to God and I said, God, I'm alone now, and there are children here with me. Come with me.
I also
This is the journey that I'm starting.
You have to be with me.
You have to be
You
with
have
me.
to be with me.
And then I'm telling you, and God was very, very, very generous with me. I saw God walking with me. I mean, my son, the last born son at that time, was only 6 years old. And today he's 15 years old.
Yeah.
So you can imagine.
Yeah.
And I've got a very great relationship with my children.
And God-fearing
And-
children.
Yeah. And I think...
And we're not
that
saying they're perfect.
No.
No.
And I think that conversation, honestly, took me from at the bottom pit
Yeah.
and to where I am.
I think also it's very important mixing to what you're saying. When Jacob didn't let go of the angel, he said, I won't let you go until he blesses me. I think we need to ask God to say, you promised me this. And I am not gonna let you go until
It's in the word.
you give it to me. It's
in the
a
word.
promise. Yo, guys, the light is just the light is just acting up. It's moving and sorry.
And God said, my word is like a rain. In the book of Isaiah, it's like a rain. It doesn't come down and go back without watering the ground. So it means either way, His word will be fulfilled.
There's this other part that I want us to talk about. I believe that when you're a widow, because this message, I think it applies to widow, widower, or as a single parent, that you need to make a conscious decision that you were used to being with a man. You were used to sleeping with a man in the same bed
every day.
You were used to those kisses. Ne? It's three things that can happen. It's three things that can happen in the situation when you lose a spouse or you find yourself you're a partner or whatever and you're no longer having a partner. Is it that you throw yourself to the world and the scavengers are there waiting for you? Or you can say, I'm gonna go celibate. Or three, these are the lessons my mother taught me. Three, you can say, I'm gonna date, but I'm gonna date with a purpose. We have seen why I'm bringing this up. I'm bringing this up because most of the time we find women who find themselves divorced. We'll speak more about women now. Let's leave men out. Women who find themselves divorced, who find themselves widowed, who found themselves they were in a long-term relationship and it's no longer there. And they're single. It's either they choose one of the three things that I've chosen. Did you make a conscious decision or the kind of life that you want to live?
I did. I did. Because you remember from the beginning of our conversation, I kept on telling you that I had a beautiful marriage. I wanted another one. Like I wanted that life to continue. I wanted to do it with the right person. And so I knew from the beginning that I will date at a point.
And you will remarry.
And I will remarry. And then that is the decision that I would even communicate it with my children. I will tell them, I will ask them, do you mind if your mother gets a boyfriend? And my kids will be like, no, wouldn't mind. No, wouldn't mind. But I knew it was a conscious decision. You know what? For me, and I will not say this is how it is.
It's not the standard.
This is not a manual. Life has got no manual. That was I'm talking about myself. For me, I wanted to live a very good life as a person, as Tipeli, and be a good example to my children.
To your sons.
I didn't want to teach my children life. I wanted my children to see life through me, and learn some of the things in life through me.
I think mothers, they take it for granted to have conversation with their children when they find themselves without spouses or partners anymore. Children will just see John, Peter, Matebu, Makonde.
Oh my goodness.
And people do not realize, as much as parents, you are adults, your life needs to move on and you have your life because kids are going to move on and have their own life. You are left alone.
And you've got a biological need.
Yes. But kids are so, most of the time, kids are so unforgiving to their parents. Is that thing that when your children have seen you, it's uncle this, uncle that, uncle that, cousin that, they can use that against you.
But Kenzie, it depends on how do you relate with your children. Life is no guarantee. There is no guarantee that I'm going to date Peter and Peter will be the right one. I've dated so many people.
No.
So many people. No, I'm just telling you.
Okay.
You just have to be smart about it.
Yes.
You just to be a wise mother. You just
yes, that's what I'm saying.
You just have to be wise
I'm not
mother.
saying don't date. But I'm saying that be conscious that you are raising children who are
watching
you.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
For me, boys, it didn't work. And they would even laugh at me. They would
Because
laugh at me.
sometimes children, we are so judgmental to our parents who find themselves single. We don't want them to date, but we forget that we're going to leave our parents. And our parents were going to be left alone with our spouses. See, now we have spouses.
Yeah. And
especially, I think, in the black community. You know, you find kids are holding on to their parents, especially the mother, not to move on.
Conversation with these boys.
Yeah.
Or you just want to show up with Uncle Peter.
Yeah, without having conversation
even
first.
Telling them, and then the boys need to be, you are expecting the boys to understand that there was a Uncle Peter here in the morning.
Yeah.
And Uncle Peter disappeared.
Yeah, they just see Uncle Peter in shorts in the kitchen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not even telling them.
So this conversation, it needs more time. But you know, there's no more time. But what we are saying is that if you are married, if you are married at this moment, love your spouse.
Exactly.
Love your spouse like tomorrow is not guaranteed. Love your spouse with all that you have. Never make your spouse doubt the love that we have for them. No matter, there's nothing that is perfect. There's no marriage which is perfect or whatever. But that love, you must never withhold your love to your spouse, because you don't know tomorrow. We have had so many couples now with Kororo. It's either the husband has passed away, or the wife has passed away, or even the couple has passed away. So the question is, even when the couple have passed away, your kids who are left behind, do they know the kind of marriage that you have? Do they know the love that is there between their parents? Do they know the kind of parents, the love you had or you have on them?
And also the children are learning love from you.
Yes.
How to treat a woman, how to...
Even for you, how
I'm responding to my husband.
To your husband.
It's learning from
and guys, when you're a widow, or you find yourself divorced, or you find yourself single after a long-term relationship, you know what, but we're not going to focus on relationship, because the Bible doesn't talk about relationship here now. That one is going to be too long. But you know what? Know that tomorrow is going to be better.
Yeah.
Know that the pain that you are in, it's going to end. And
it does
you
end.
find comfort in God.
It does end.
Find comfort in God, and be conscious of the kind of widow you're gonna be. Be conscious of the kind of
how
parents.
you would want to move on. Where do you see yourself?
Yes.
After that.
Yeah.
God does heal the pain.
Yeah, it does.
God healed me from my widow pain, and then I was then able to date, and I remarried. But
that's a story for another day.
That's the story for another day. Yes.
Yeah.
But my point is, God, there's no pain that God doesn't heal.
No.
There's no pain that God doesn't heal. God will heal you, and God will restore. God can even restore you.
What does it say? It says, when I'm weak, He's strong for us.
Yes.
When you find yourself being weak, He will be strong for us.
Yes.
We must not lean on our own understanding. Whatever, and we are saying, whatever pain that you are going through, whatever confusion that you are going through at this moment, He's got you. And God doesn't move. It's us who move away from Him. He never moves His protection and His love and His grace from us.
He doesn't.
It's us who move.
It's us who move. God is the same. God is faithful even when we are not faithful.
Yes.
But that's a story for another day. When we're gonna maybe one day we're gonna talk about my second marriage and the whole story.
The whole saga.
The whole saga. And what happened to it, and how did my marriage end?
Yes. So guys, I hope you've learned something. This channel is for education, to be informed, for healing, for entertainment, for you to have hope, for you to know that tomorrow is going to be better, for you to forgive yourself, for you to love more, and for you to love yourself more, and forgive yourself of the mistakes you've done. And life will be better, and it will be easier for you to forgive. And when you forgive yourself, you forgive other people, you open other channels, other opportunities.
And thank you.
Ciao.
Thank you so much
Thank you
for
again.
inviting me.